So let's just start with what is prosecutorial discretion. It refers to an agency choice about whether to enforce or not enforce immigration law against a person or a group of people. So in this case, the agency is the Department of Homeland Security. So if mom is undocumented and ICE chooses not to bring charges against mom, then that is said to be a favorable exercise of prosecutorial discretion. So why do we have prosecutorial discretion? There are a few guiding theories. One is economic. The government simply has not enough resources to enforce the immigration laws against every single person in the United States without documentation. One statistic shows that there's money to deport about 400,000, or less than 4% of the undocumented population. So choices have to be made. Who will you prioritize or deport? Who will you leave alone? And historically, and this really gets to sort of the second theory behind prosecutorial discretion, those choices have largely been humanitarian driven. So you see here on the slide some of the factors that have guided prosecutorial discretion in the past, like service in the US military or long-term residence in the United States. Even a longer list appears here on the slide, and there's been a lot of research done in this area to just really identify patterns. So I've looked at thousands of case files over the years to really identify trends and to see, what are the types of cases that are being considered for a type of prosecutorial discretion? Why are people getting granted? Why are they denied? So just some PD basics, right? We're all lawyers, so it'll be reassuring to know that there is legal authority to exercise prosecutorial discretion. And if anyone is interested in the Q&A, I'm happy to go over those authorities. Also keep in mind that unlike other civil law domains, there are lots of different ways discretion can be exercised in the immigration system. So you may be used to one way or the other based on your own practice, or maybe what you have seen in the news because DACA got a lot of transparency. But in fact, and I'll show you a slide later, there are dozens of ways prosecutorial discretion can be exercised. So the sort of forms or no forms, right? Most types of prosecutorial discretion have no form. So for those who are really looking for the last update, you're not going to have an application form to fill out, with the exception of a few types of discretion like DACA. This is mostly a practice of, writing your own cover letter, including supplementary documentation, and pouring the equities that should be applied in determining whether a decision is made. So connected to the no form world of prosecutorial discretion is just an overall lack of transparency, right? This is a policy that has historically operated in secret. In fact, it wasn't until the early 1970s that we even got any kind of guidelines publicly available on prosecutorial discretion. So another reminder is that we might often think of, or only think of, ICE as the agency that has the authority to exercise discretion, but all three agencies within the Department of Homeland Security have prosecutorial discretion authority. So for example, Customs and Border Protection might exercise discretion by issuing an NTA. Similarly, USCIS may exercise discretion by issuing or granting deferred action outside of the DACA policy. And finally, ICE might exercise discretion by choosing not to file a notice to appear.